Hang on 1 second. I'm trying to post too. Come join me on Facebook. So give me 1 second. Next, share. I think I'm okay. I'm waiting to make sure. I always have to just double check and make sure that everything that I think of is functioning and working. Okay, that one's different. Let's see if we can find the live one. Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, Bridget. I guess we're live. Let me just make sure I got my chat up and running. Let me make sure things are mapped over on the Facebook side of things, because I get people ask me all the time, why aren't you going live anymore? And I'm like, I am. I have been publishing it every single time I go live. We're on YouTube now. Facebook's got all its issues. So today I thought, I've had this picture in my phone. I should go back and look at how long I've had it. I found it on Pinterest when I was looking for just pins to pin. I do that a lot. People that have unique color combinations that I had never thought would go good together, and seeing them put together. Or just stuff I have in my inventory and I never thought putting stuff together that way would look good. So I came across this photo and I was like, wow, that looks really cool. And there's some things that I want to change, and I'll go over the things that we're changing. And I always start off with the most simple designs, but then I throw my own self under the bus and I make it more complicated than it needs to be. So thank God that's where tutorials come into play, so that we could work it out and come up with a game plan for how to make things work a little bit more more simple, I think. We are going to start. A couple things before we get started. If you are not currently subscribed to my channel, would you guys do me the favor and please click subscribe? That will turn on your notifications on YouTube, so when I go live, you will be notified. And also, if you like this design, like I did, but there was no tutorial for it, so click the save button if you're on YouTube. Save will save it to your YouTube account. You can set up folders and all the kinds of fun things. And make sure that you like and comment on this post. It definitely helps boost how many people YouTube opens it up and shows it to. And I think you guys are going to really like this design because I'm scaling it back a little bit, but not taking away any of the quality. Let me go ahead and just pin my website down below. So if you guys are interested, our private group is open for open enrollment. I was like, is it creation or creations? Man, sometimes I know why I'm so brain frizzled is I submitted all my tax information today. It's like my tax accountant texted me or sent me an email, and she's like, are you gonna need to file an extension, or did you forget? And I was like, honestly, for some reason I thought I was still in January. I'm like, and here we are, end of February, tomorrow. It's crazy. 2025 is just going by so quickly. So things that you can find on the website: free tutorials. There is a bow recipe, which is the bow that I generally do on all of my wreaths. You can sign up for things. You can grab tutorials that you might like. We're coming up with some exclusive content once I get all the stuff resolved with Facebook and get all my content on my own server. Then we can do that. Let's see. I think that's it. So I'm going to go ahead and PV you down. We'll go over the instructions. If you guys have any questions at all, this is why I like doing lives, is so you can ask questions and get answers from people who are putting it all together. Let me get rid of my remote so I don't accidentally shrink it down on you. So I'm going to pivot you down. because rumor has it people like an overhead view over a, I don't think I need the whole thing, an overhead view versus, I'm just readjusting my camera because lines and angles are just like my big pet peeve. Hi Pam, hi Paula from Idaho, welcome. I just had friends of mine move to Idaho, so yeah, I'm like, I still love Washington. I'm not going to leave Washington. So here's what we're doing. So we're doing a 12-inch frame. I'm taking it down just a little bit because it gives you more freedom in the box when you go to ship it out. Putting it on a 14-inch, and depending upon how you wire it together, you could really be pushing the limits of how that fits into the box. Normally I put them on the diagonal. So we're going to be kind of stacking one over the top of the other. And if you notice my cutting mat, I use this all the time for shipping purposes. Looking at, here's a 24, it's 24 tall, and then right here is 24 long. So if I just kind of play within the perimeters, everything will fit diagonally in a 24-inch box. If we do it this way, oh, of course not. But this is why certain things can be longer and still be put in a different size box. So I wanted to make sure that all of my items, the ears, everything, all stayed in the perimeters. Otherwise, it's too big to ship, or you have to start getting creative, or you have to buy these one-off boxes to try to ship one wreath. So bunny head from Dollar Tree, 12-inch round wreath frame. I got this from Michael's because Dollar Tree only has 8, is it 8 or 10 inches? I want to say it's 8 inches, 14 inches, and 18 inches, and then they have a bunch of other things. The rabbit head, we're still looking for to see if Dollar Tree is going to roll this out or discontinue it. So you'll need both of these. We're going to do chenille yarn again, but a different technique. So whatever chunky yarn, whatever color you want is entirely up to you. My hubby was nice enough. He picked up all of my chunky yarn when Hobby Lobby had it on sale. White, because that's what I'm using today, is forever picking up anything. So you have to be really careful when working with the white. Make sure your board's clean and that you have glitter and all the things removed, because it's like a lint picker-upper. You will need, these came out a couple years ago. They're the Dollar Tree felt rabbit feet. Not sure. I think Elizabeth said that the Dollar Tree has them now, but they're different. They're called bunny tracks, I guess, so that you would set that up like the bunny came to your house. We're using these. And in the event that you don't have them, you can create a template. You can probably find something online that you can download. The rabbit feet, because I know I'm going to get asked this question, are a little greater than 6 inches, so it's like 6 1/8 of an inch, and at its widest point they're 3.5 inches, so 3.5 inches wide at the longest, and what did I say, 6, just shy of, like just over 6 on the middle toe all the way down to the bottom. So, and they're really stiff felt. So Hobby Lobby sells regular felt and they sell stiff felt. You will need the stiff felt if you want to use those for the bunny feet. Okay, so I have those. We are using 2 different types of ribbon. I'm using this black and white striped for the bow. We're using this plaid black and white glitter for the inside of his ears. So 2.5 inch, 1.5 inch here. This is from Kringle Designs. This is from Craft Outlet. I have a lot of the pre-prep stuff done for you, so you don't have to watch me wrap everything. So there's some relief there. You will need some black. It's kind of like called fun foam. It's really thin. So obviously, if I'm doing a black and white rabbit, I don't want him to have pink toes. So we're going to switch that out. You can do it with felt or you can do it with the foam. I like the foam because it feels like the little toe beans that animals would have. It's kind of got that little squishy sensation. You will need a piece of cardboard so that we can do the inserts for his ears. We did yarn. We did the bunny feet. The only additional thing you will need are carrots if you want to add them. So I am adding carrots. Hobby Lobby has the little orange plaid, and then Michael's, or no, I think Hobby Lobby actually has these ones too. I'm leaning to using the little skinnier, longer ones because they look nicer. But either one of those are available at Hobby Lobby right now in their seasonal section. So you'll need 3 to complete your bunny. And there is the option of adding his tail. I don't know where you will find these, but I get them at Hobby Lobby during Christmas. They're called polyester like snowballs. It's so kids can have indoor snowball fights. And so I picked these up in a bag. I think it comes with like 8 or 10 in a package. I use these on my Santa wreaths, but we may or may not be adding one to our bunny. It just depends. I think it doesn't need it because of the orientation of the way that the rabbit is built. It doesn't make sense that it's there, but I'll show you what it should look like when it's done. Okay, so obviously, do you guys have any questions on the materials? And I'm all about recycling things, so if you have stuff available and you want to substitute it, like if you don't have the ribbon but you have fabric, you can use fabric. I am using my Cool Temp glue gun, and you'll understand why when we get to that portion of the tutorial. I also have my Dual Temp regular hot glue gun for the heavy duty gluing. So without further ado, we are going to start. So you have a couple options if you're starting your frame. Let me find the end of it here. I didn't realize this, but like when I went into my house, it was like crazy. I was covered in white fur, and I didn't realize that. Just white fur on black, not a very great thing to do. So sample wise, you can either glue it onto your frame with hot glue and just tag this on the back, let it dry, and then go ahead and start wrapping it all the way around. Or if you didn't want to do the glue, you could just simply take it and tie it to your frame like so, just like this, and you can tuck the tail back down on the underside so that once you start wrapping, if it was on this side, once we start wrapping, that actually gets wrapped up into the rest of our chunky yarn as we go all the way around. And so you'll complete this all the way around for your 12-inch frame with the white chunky yarn or whatever color you would like. I'm doing white. So that's how to tie on. And then obviously to tie off pretty much the same way. I would probably just recommend that you pull it. Like if this was our end and we were finishing it up, I would probably put a dab of glue here and then drag this up nice and tight, and then like cut it right here so that we're good to go. Okay, there is that. So there's that in case you guys need that. And then what you're going to do is once you have that done, it looks like this. Through the magic of pre-prep, here is our 12-inch that is already done. It's already been prefabbed because nobody has that much time to watch you go all the way around. And I don't want to go through the whole speeded up kind of tutorial. So that is what it looks like when it's finished. That is our rabbit's body. I'm going to set that aside. And then what you're going to do for his head is a little bit different for his head. You're still going to have a starting point. But remember how when I taught you the gray rabbit, we went we wrapped around the ring, and then we went back in and individually wrapped the outlines of his ears. Well, this time we're going to wrap his whole face so that his face is complete. And the best way to do that, because when you have this curve and a curve down here, as you're wrapping your yarn, once you get to a certain point, you're going to have to stop and tag it with glue and then keep going until you finish at the very, very bottom. So I found starting at the top was easier. So what I recommend, let me find my end, is flipping it over, because there is a top and a bottom. Flipping it over, I'm going to start right here at the very top, and I'm using my heavy duty glue, and I'm just kind of tagging that right in that section, and I'm going to stretch that across and make sure that that hits those contact points for me. This is going to be my start on the back side, and then we're just going to keep wrapping the whole thing all the way around. So let it actually stick, because if you flip it over and start wrapping it, you'll pull it right off because it hasn't had an opportunity to dry yet. As you can see, we've got a good start right here. So now when we go and bring it over, we're going to have a nice smooth start. Don't worry that his head is not equally rounded. It will be. So for here, because you can still see your frame, I just recommend tagging it on a couple points so that it'll stay and not slide down. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that right at the very, very top. And I call them contact points. It's wherever you're going to fix something with glue, wherever it touches, that's a contact point. So you want to make sure that we're securing that down. Okay? And then we're just going to flip this up. I would recommend doing it, because we're doing that round circle part. You know, we're getting around the arch. There's a couple contact points for me here and here. So I want it nice and snug. Don't pull overly tight, because then you'll use way more yarn than you need to. But then also don't do it too soft, because then you'll start to see your frame, especially if you're using white, as you go all the way around. And so you're seeing what's happening here. We're just going to keep on going around and around until we get the rabbit's head covered all the way through. So just make sure, like I said, every now and then just, you know, tag the glue on that spot so that it doesn't slide down the frame. And then as you get to the midway point, it's going to be the same thing. Once you're no longer at the widest point, your wrap, when you get down to the bottom, isn't going to want to stay. So like when I go to wrap this, it doesn't want to stay. So do the same thing. Contact point on the back side or on the front side, tag it with glue. Do the same on the other side, let that dry, and then go ahead and finish the bottom. Once you have finished wrapping his whole head, you will go back through the same thing that we did for the gray rabbit, if you saw that tutorial. If not, I will link it in the description so you can see that. You are just going to do the same thing. Once we finish, you're going to cut this off, and then you're going to come up here to the top on the back side, and you are going to start a point here. I'm just going to use this one because it just happened to be within reach. And then this, you're just going to kind of go, cut a small portion of it off. You're just going to go around and around his ears until you get them all outlined, because we want to do something a little bit creative on the inside. So this time the bunny has, it's kind of weird, he has a full face, an open body, meaning there's a hole in the middle of his body, and then we're outlining the same thing, his ears as we go around. Same thing when you get to the tip, stop, put a little bit of glue there, Then keep wrapping so that now you can hold that while it dries and keep going all the way down. When you get down here, just leapfrog over with a contact point and continue to wrap until you have the whole thing done. Okay? That's super simple. The wrapping is the easy part. And if you need to, because when you're dealing with a big ball of yarn, pull out, I don't know, not 6 feet. Would it be 6 feet? Yeah, it might be 6 feet. 6 or 9 feet of yarn so that it's more manageable to kind of weave in. Even when you're doing the wrap, so that you're not having to constantly keep throwing that ball of yarn in the center. Just measure off, just kind of eyeball it and then cut it, because you're not going to need anything more than 1 skein of chunky yarn to do the whole rabbit this way. Wrapping the face, wrapping the ears, wrapping the body. Even if you wanted to do the old idea with the gray rabbit, you only need 1 skein of yarn. And so with Hobby Lobby or Michael's, you might find those are on sale and you'll get a really great deal. But once you finish with this, this is what it's going to look like. It's going to look like this. And so we have a super puffy rabbit face. We definitely have a back and we definitely have a front on this particular rabbit. This is our front. So when we take our front to our bottom, we're actually going to be overlapping the two and then zip tying them together. And I know you might look at it and go, well, his head's really big for his body. Yeah, but his neck is also built into the head portion. So it's going to even out and look really awesome. So before we do that and attach them, we need to create a template for our ears. So what you're going to do is I just take leftover cardboard that I have from my shipping boxes, and I just save the ends. I don't want them to where they're like wrinkled or bent. And then you're just going to take a pin and you're just going to create a template for your ears, just like so. Let's see if we can get this side to come in a little bit more. Just something along those lines. And because I measured this, this is the left front. I would label this left front. I'm going to double check because I should have made the ones for the right front. And I'm going to do this because I made the left front already. And then this is going to be right front. Okay, we've got a good template there. You can cut it out or you can use an X-Acto knife. It's whatever you prefer. And I'm going to start up here. And I'm going to cut with my X-Acto knife along my template. You don't want to go wider than the ear. You want to kind of keep it right on the inside. I think I have to go around here again. I didn't go all the way around. Okay. Pop that out. There's my rabbit's ear. I'm going to just double check it for a fit to make sure I don't have anything going through the other side. I think I'm good. I'm good there. Okay. I just want to make sure we're nice and good. All right. With that, this is where I was trying to get creative. And I was trying to use the stuff I have rather than go out and just buy material. So I definitely want to cover his ears, not with pink felt. I wanted to go something a little bit unique. So what I did is I covered it with 2.5-inch ribbon. Now, you might be asking yourself, girl, that's definitely wider than 2.5. How in the heck did you pull that off? Well, considering that we get so much ribbon that has been pre-spliced together, I thought, I wonder if I could pull that off only with a perfect splice. So what I did is I measured out my ribbon to go top and bottom heavy. Trying to make sure. Okay, that we want to make sure you have a little bit of overlap. And I'm going to tell you how big this turned out to be. It's about 9 inches. So that makes that easy for me to go back in. And I always do a little bit more just in case I'm slightly off. So, and you can tell that it's already got this weird funky pattern. It's like the part on the end where it didn't quite match up. So now we're going to get super creative, and I'm going to cut the wire off the ribbon like so. So I'm going to take that. We're going to throw the wire away, and we are going to go all the way up. And we're going to do that on both pieces. So there's my wire. If you have fabric that matches, you're ahead of the game for me. I didn't, but I definitely knew I wanted a black and white plaid. I was thinking about going with Harlequin, but I chose to stay with the plaid. So I'm going to remove the wire so that it makes splicing it together so much easier. Okay, so have pulled that off. Now, this funky edge right here, I don't have to worry about because we're going to kind of let a little bit of an overlap hang. We don't want it like right in the center, but I do know that I want my Harlequin to be vertical. I don't want it like leaning. I want it to be straight up and down. So I'm going to measure it like so, and I want to make sure I have enough all the way around that I can do that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to match up part A with part B. If we can, we're going to have to scoot that over a bit if we want it to be perfect. I'm trying to make sure that my squares are the same size. This one's just slightly off. Let's pull this back and see if I can get that right to the edge of this other piece. I prefer to like match up the boxes if I can and make the boxes the same size. I really want to take that up, but if I do that, it takes it up to a whole new level. I think that'll work. Okay, so now I've got it lined up perfectly. You might be like, I'll be able to tell. I was actually pretty impressed. So what I'm going to do here is, because this is in the position that I want this to be in, I am taking my Cool Shot glue gun and I'm going to press that down because it's not going to bleed through the other side. Super sweet. Just like that. Got it all glued together. Now we have to play splice-o-rama. So my whole goal is to make sure the boxes are the same size. Just like that. And I'm going to lift it up. And I'm going to go right along the cardboard part. So that when I take it, I'm actually pushing it this way. I'm pushing the glue towards that seam. So it'll smush that way and seal that gap all the way through. Make it nice and pretty. Okay? Then we're going to flip it over on the back, and now you can see kind of where we have everything going. And so from here, you're going to take you can do regular glue gun on this, because at this point we're on the back, it doesn't matter. I am going to put a new glue stick in, and then I'm going to start at the top, and I'm going along the sides of my ribbon all the way down this end. And then I'm going to pull up because I want this to be snug along the edges of the cardboard. And I'm not worried about the back just yet. I'm trying to get those sides nice and tight. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and trim this little bit of excess off. And I'll go ahead and do this here. And then now that I have that attached, I'm going to go ahead and attach the back. And just flop that over. This is why using a Cool Touch glue gun works so well, because it's not hot. I mean, it's hot enough to melt the glue, but not hot enough to burn. Okay, and I'm going to take it all the way down to the bottom. And then I'm going to go along the side, right here. Make sure there's a pretty decent bead. Don't be like a little on the skimpy side. Go thick, because that's going to have to hold that ribbon, especially if you have like a thick canvas type of ribbon. And you can use the sides if you need to make sure you got a good fit right up there at the top. Trim that down. Trim that down. I know that there's some places right here where I barely have any that's going to come over to the other side, but that's okay. I'll try to get as close as I can to pull that on the back. Just like so. Okay, and we're right here at the point. I love the points. Those are my favorite to do. We're just going to cover, and I'm going to pull this up and make sure that we've got the ends covered. And then once we do, we're going to trim off any excess piece. Down here at the bottom, this is where we have that straight. We're going to go right here across the bottom. We're going to pull up. And then you're going to trim your corners. And then we have second set of bunny ears. So we have 1 and 2. That was the right, this is the left. And all this is because I want a patterned look to the inside of the rabbit's ears. So when we bring the rabbit head over, we're going to be adding that plaid ribbon right to our rabbit's ears, just like that. So I'm going to flip him over, and we're going to glue right. I was like, right, this was here. So this one goes here, Cat, and this one's going to go here. And we want to make sure that we get them covered, and so there's no light coming through. Heavy duty glue gun. We're going to go right along the edge. Trying to make sure as I'm getting really close to my fingers, I'm like, don't move, don't move. Okay. Laying that right down. It sits right on top of the fur points. And then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing here. Because remember, we've got that fur overhang on the edge. When I outlined my ear, it was really close to the edge, so that I have enough to go all the way around. And then you can come back in and add additional fur and make the back of the rabbit head look like the front. You could go this way if you want. I just do nice little cute swirls, just like that. We're going to flip that over, and that is how we get fabric filled rabbit ears, just like that. And so now we're going to attach the head to the body. Oh, that's a great idea, Marilyn. She said CVS sold snowballs last Christmas. Hi, Georgiana. Okay, now I am taking the back and just kind of find a spot where you kind of want to add the head to the body. We want to make sure that we get the head pretty well down to the lower part of the frame. I don't want the head this way. I just want it like right so that it's even. This is all plushed right here. So now we're going to take zip ties and we're going to zip tie. I find it's easier if you just go from the bottom here. So you can just separate. I'm trying to hit the frame. So you can see I'm just making a little indent. Kind of wanted to go up over here. Should have went down, girl, then go up. Sometimes, man. Okay, just like that, I have it anchored into my frame. I'm going to line that up right over the top. I'm going to take the bottom and I'm going to feed that up because we can go right through his head. I'm just trying to find the white zip tie. There we go. White zip tie. And should have went down through this one too. Let's see if I can get this one to come up. Now, did I pull it down? Yes. I'm trying to find the end of my frame. Okay, got it. So now I've got top to the bottom. And I'm going to pull nice and tight. And I'm using 6-inch zip ties to make the whole process easier. You can use 8-inch. Just don't go crazy and use black. You want to kind of make sure that you hide it pretty well. So I'm going through my head. Right there. And I'm going to go through my frame again, trying to make sure that I get it like on a rail both times. And now I'm going to come back up. Man, I wish I this is where you wish I had another set of hands so you don't lose that initial zip tie in there. Okay, got it through. Now I've got to get underneath. Got it right here. And we're going to go ahead and zip tie that down nice and tight. And you can tell right now, just when I lift it up, there's a slight bow in it just because the weight of the head is heavier than the weight of the body. So I'm going to do a couple more zip ties just for security. Okay, there's that one. And let's get it up. I usually like to do about 4. This is where if you had, I still need to keep reminding myself to bring my yarn needle out. A yarn needle would probably work really well, but when you're just doing it by yourself, you can make that work. I'm just trying to find my zip tie. There we go. And nice and tight, because we're using white. We're good there. Again, like I said, he's got a lot. You got to be careful because he is white. He is prone to pick up all the stuff on your workspace table. So now we've got our rabbit body. We've got the head built. We're not adding eyes. This is a faceless rabbit. If you wanted to add eyes, you could definitely do that. But this guy definitely is not having any eyes put on him. We do need to work on his feet. So remember, our feet came this way. They don't have the black. All they have is the pink. So what you will do, you'll have to sacrifice one pair, but he's actually going to be like this. So I'll show you like a prelim of what he's going to be like. So he's going to be like this. There's his feet. He's going to have a nice bow here with his carrots. And then the option that the ones that I saw all had tails. So they all took their tails and they all put their tails right here. And I'm like thinking, okay, from a rabbit perspective, if a rabbit was sitting there, his tail would be on the back side. You wouldn't see his tail. You wouldn't see his tail at all based on the way he's sitting. So that's just an option you have. If you wanted to add a little floofy cottontail, there's people who have done a whole bunch of them in different colors and different patterns, and they always have the tail, but I'm looking at it going, it just doesn't make sense. So let me show you how we're going to switch out his hot pink toe pads for something that matches his black and white. This is where our fun foam is going to come into play. And like I said, you're going to have to sacrifice one of your feet to create a template for the toes and the big pad. So I've already done that. So I have already cut out my toes, and I kind of went a little bit bigger because it's hot pink, so we want to make sure that we've got good complete coverage on that. So I've done the bottom, and then you have like the center toe. I think the center was the slightly bigger, and then you have the ones that go on the outside. So we want to change those out, and all we need to do is change it out to black. So this is where I found, if you had your fun foam, I have a whole bunch of it left from just sampling, trying to figure out, okay, how can we change that? How can we design a template? You know, like, how can we use this? Can we put one on top of the fun foam and then trace, and then hope with enough of an indent that it's going to, you know, come through? Like, because I was really trying hard to save not cutting into one. And I tried a wide variety of different things. It just didn't come out. But you do want to go a little on the heavy side. So just take a pin. Believe it or not, it actually shows up on the faux farm. Just like so. And I'm going all the way around. Just like so. Just leaving an ever so slightly big point. And you can kind of see it right here. It kind of goes off to the edge. So there is my center toe pad. Right? Allie says the tail doesn't go there. That's my whole thought process. In everything I design, I'm like, it just doesn't go that way. It doesn't make sense. So, that's why I don't use a lot of the wreath attachments, because they just don't make sense. If you were to put them on, that's what a rabbit would look like if he was doing that. So just take your time. You're not in any big hurry. We're just trying to change out his toe pads. So there's the first one. And then I take it and just bring it over the top and make sure, does it look really good? Do I need to round any of the corners just slightly? So I have that one. So we have the center. And now we're going to cut, we need 3 of the individual ones. So that one's all done. So now we're going to do the black, because we need to create one more. And like I said, black picks up everything. And it is black. Okay. So we're going to go around a little bit. You can either, as you're cutting your template, if you just want to, when you're cutting out the toe from the original foot, and just give yourself a little bit extra, you can do that. So we have one, and believe it or not, yes, they are slightly different sizes, but you only have to cut one of the left and right toes, and then the center one is going to be slightly a little bit bigger. I'm just going to go off the end because it's just so much easier to manipulate my foam if I don't have the weight of everything else there. Okay, just measure, make sure it's completely covering our hot pink. So we've got our center toe. And now we're going to do the outside. I'm like, are they all the same? They look like, I'm just looking. We can probably do all the same. I cut them all out because it went. So there's number 2. And I'll go down here. And that'll be our outside. So I'm just tracing this with a pin on the fun foam. Again, you can get that at Hobby Lobby, get it at Walmart. I'm just gonna cut the main part out so that I can really move my scissors to keep my corners from not having points. We're almost done with this one. Okay, we've got 1, got 2, got 1 more to get. I'll just splice this out. I've already got 1 done, so you guys don't have to watch me do this twice. Okay. There we go. 1, 2, 3. I think this one is a little bigger. So I just want to make sure it completely covers, which it does. And so I found the best way to do this is just lift up the side, go right to the edge of the rabbit's toe pad. Don't do a ball of glue, just kind of spread it out, make it a thin spread, because we don't want to see it ooze out the side. So just go right along the edge and then just squish it back down. Okay, now we're going to do his toe. I'm going to do the one to the end. So this is what I'm saying, do this way. Just make it really wide because we don't want it to squeeze out. And then he has like little texturized rubber feet. It looks nice that way. Same thing here. And this cool shot is hot enough to glue that through and not eat away at my fun foam. And then we're going to do our last one. Put this one, making sure nice and tight. Okay, rabbit's toes are done. We have converted from a hot pink to a nice black and white toe. But to give it some more texture and to make it look better than just slapping this on there, we are going to outline it with our fur, because then when we set it on the actual body, we don't want it to just be like this. It looks kind of I want to give it some more texture, much like we did our rabbit's body. So I find that if you start at the bottom, and we're going to go right along the edge of the rabbit's toe, and I'm going to start this at the bottom, and I'm just going to take this and run this all the way up and around his toe. Just like so. We're going to give his feet some dimension. And I'm keeping it really close to the edge of his toes, like literally right on the edge of the felt. So we'll go over and we'll take that around and we'll take it down. And you can already see it's adding much more substance to his foot than what was there before. So bring that all the way down, go around, and it's going to attach here. So I like to cut it and then glue both ends and push them together. There we go. Make sure we remove all the glue. So now he's got bigger, fluffier, furrier feet, and they look so much better when we go to put them on the rabbit. So I have the other one already done. So see how the rabbit looks? Let me turn it sideways because he's so big that the camera's not even picking up the whole of the rabbit. So there's the rabbit's feet. So it's imperative that I make sure that he is straight. So I am lining up his head on my 16 inches, and here is exactly center. So I want to make sure that his feet, I'm going to put one on 14 and one on 18, still using the Cool Shot. I'm going to go right down the center of his toes and right along the outside. And I'm going to take this and line this up with my 14. And then we're going to do the same on this side. Contact points are all the way along the middle. Let's get that off. So all the way up the center, that's where it's going to connect. Lining this up right on my 18. See what I'm saying? White picks up everything. Making sure his feet are aligned, that he is straight. This is what we have thus far, our rabbit. And so now we're going to make him a bow. And we're going to take that black and white, and I'm going to dovetail the end, which is just bring your wired edges together. And I'm going to cut on the folded side down to the wired point, just like this, to get a really good, nice dovetail end. And so his bow is going to hang down pretty far. Pretty much like I'm trying to give myself an idea. It's going to go right about there. So let's see. That is about 7 inches. So with this particular bow, and I should have looked at the picture. I think they did a 2-loop bow on both, like as 2 loops, and then a center loop. So we're going to try that. So we're going to go 7 inches. I'm using the Bodabra. I'm going to gather in at 7 inches. I'm going to twist, place that on the inside. I'm going to go for like, let's see, I'm going to go for 4.5 for the back part of the bow. So if I line this up on the 10 and I pull it out, I want to see my loop end at 4.5 inches. Let's do that again. Just make sure I've got 4.5 here, and I do. And then I'm going to do 4 inches as I bring that in. That's a little heavy. Okay. He's going to be a sophisticated rabbit. I've wanted to make this rabbit for some time. But I was like, I got to figure out what I can do. Because I don't want to go out and just buy fabric just for the Harlequin ears. Okay, and then we're going to take this one out 7 inches. And we're going to dovetail the end. And yes, I'm adding a center loop. You'll see in a second. Okay, there's that. I'm going to use white pipe cleaner because I want to not see the pipe cleaner. So I'm going to do it here. And I'm going to just secure my loops so they don't go anywhere. So I'm just going to twist my pipe cleaner through it. Okay, just so I can get a visual. I'm going to pull my tails down. And I've got my loops and a loop and a bigger loop and a bigger loop. And so all this, I'm just setting it there, is going to go right there on my rabbit. That's where his bow's going to go. And we're going to add carrots to his bow. So his carrots are going to go, this is why we have that center loop. The carrots are going to go here, here, and here. They're going to go out to the side. And I need them to be very specific on where they need to be attached. So what I'm going to do is I am going to, let's see, if I do this guy in the middle, can I secure with the tails? I don't want really super big tails coming out the top. Let's see if I can get those to just stay like that. Zip tie. Let's try. Because a rubber band will degrade and deteriorate over time. So I'm going to see if this will work. Will this work? So that we have these. They're kind of like the center of a rabbit. Doesn't it look cute? And then I'm going to make the loop for the center. I'm just going to cut off a section of the ribbon. And I think I want a bigger loop. Maybe not. This is going to go right over the top because the carrots are going to go right through the center. So I'm trying to think, do I want to add the bow? Because I need to get this around my carrots, which is not hard to do. Let's just do this. I'm just looking for, I need it to get really super small. Let's try, I'm going to try just making it. The worst case scenario is I'll just pull this off and go around. So let's see if I can feed that through. Because I want it pretty, I want it to cover my zip tie. See what I'm saying? I make things more challenging, more difficult than they need to be. There we go. Yes, we can do that. And then this is going to go right there. And then we have his little carrots. Ugh, it's going to look super cute. Okay. So, do I want to just glue this to the top? Or do I want to wire it in? Such choices. Let's go ahead and wire his bow in first. Let's go ahead and put this in, which should be super simple because we know where the frame is. Okay, there it goes. I've got both sides through. I'm gonna snug it up right there. I'm gonna make sure we've got good presentation on our bow right there. And then I'm looking at it like this. So I think I want to glue it, but I really want to make sure I can get this down as far as I possibly can over my carrots. Cool shot glue gun. And I'm going to pull this down to make sure we have good coverage. And then I'm going to lay that right in. And heavy duty glue, we're going to add that right to the center of our bow. And only you guys know how we got the carrots into the bow. We need to make sure though that this stays. Let it set up. What do you guys think though? Do you like the way it looks? I like things with no faces. It's like if you notice all my angel tree toppers, none of them have faces. Let me move all this stuff out of the way. I just really want to make sure that I have that glued in really well. And so I did it with the cool shot because I can just take my fingers and push it right into our bow. And there is our rabbit. You guys ready to see what he looks like? Okay, I'm gonna flip you up. He's all done. He's gonna look great on the black door. So let's take this down and we're gonna put our rabbit up. And so the great thing about the rabbit is we already know how that is designed. So it's just going to depend on where you want to place them on your door. So I would think it's going to be right about here. So we can add a hanger because right now, if I do this, hold on, trying to just set him right there. Oh, I like him. I think he's going to be my favorite design. And I'm always going to get the comment, his ears are crooked. Rabbit's ears are not 100%. They're about as even as you can possibly make them. You can kind of pull them to one side or the other. I'm waiting for this message to go away on my Mevo so I can see that. We can bring it over here. I can bring that one over a bit. So, there's our bunny. We have made a black and white rabbit. So, now that you know the technique, you can do it with any color ribbon. You can do pink, you can do purple, you can do whatever colors in the world you want to do. You can see that we have spliced ribbon together using a cool shot glue gun and made sure that we had a really good we had a really good seam so that you can't see. I removed the seam and then just went alongside, because it's fabric, you can, and because we cut it, now those fibers are just meshing really well together. So rabbit is done. And so that's the end of the rabbits. I have done the rabbit with the head. And remember I told you that people online were putting his tail. They added a tail here and I'm like, logistically it doesn't go. I mean, are they just looking for something to fill? Because is he bringing his butt all the way around this? Like, how would the rabbit sit to get his little pom-pom ball? And I guess you could stick it down here, but I just think that looks weird. So, I just wanted to show you options. If you wanted to make it a girl bunny, you could take little ribbons and you can add ribbons up here around her ears and make her a little cute girl bunny. But I like him. He's a sophisticated black and white rabbit. So you can use him at spring all the way through Easter. So what questions do I have? Laura says, I adore the bunny. Virginia says, so adorable. Elizabeth says, very cute. Georgiana says, they look good. So I'm super glad that you guys like this tutorial. And if you want to purchase him, he will be up for sale, available on my website. That's KatsCreationsNMore.com. He's the only one. I'm only making one. That's my whole thing. When I started my business is I'm only making one. So once it's done, it's done. I don't remake wreaths because I want every customer who makes a purchase to have the only one. Doesn't mean that other people can't create them and try to, copy them, but at least my customers are getting original designs. So thank you guys for joining me, and I hope you have an amazing weekend, and come back next week. We go live on Tuesday at 4 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, and then on Thursday, it's 2 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern time. So thanks for joining. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.